Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the live stream here at Brands Hatch Circuit for what is officially the Enduro Car IndyCar 500 race weekend. But today it's all about the sprints. It's about championships being finalised. We've already had one. The MSVT Trackday Championship was decided, and we now go to their sister race, if you will, and it is the MSVT Trackday Trophy that will be up next. A 45-minute race with pit stops, and myself, Chris Dawes, and Jack Well that's up here as well. Jack, we'll be hoping that we don't get a safety car around that pit stop window this time, won't we?
Yeah, some more than others as well, going off
yes.
Conversations had in the previous race. And also, we'll be hoping that those at the back of the grid adhere to that 10-second delay, because a couple got caught out in the previous race. And again, just a quick one, going back to a previous race, if you joined us this morning or here at the circuit or at home. Ben Jenkins, we noticed he was fighting away with Harvey Ryby. I was chatting to him at lunch. He was out there on wet tyres. So he was desperately trying to aim for the puddles and aim for the wet bits of circuit to keep the tyres cool. And towards the end of the race, they did just get too hot. He couldn't extract any further time. But if that was Ben on wet tyres, he wasn't too far away from that lead battle. So on slicks, level playing field, with a championship to play for this afternoon, don't rule out Ben Jenkins.
That's interesting then, yeah, because he did look very good, although it was interesting finding the 18-year-old catch him and pass him was very impressive. So, yeah, absolutely loads to play for. So you'll be able to catch up with all three of the races left to go on this live stream. We're waving from our commentary box there. We're up where you can see us. Can't quite see us waving, but we're in there, I promise you. It is... we've got the Trackday Trophy. Now they're zooming in. There you go. You can see us waving. We're in here.
We are actual people. We're not just a computer.
Greetings. Hello. The Trackday Trophy 45-minute race. Then we've got the Clio Cup GB Championship deciding round and the Miata Trophy that is virtually done, and it's just...
I think mathematically it is pretty much impossible.
It is, but... you just can't take it for granted and all of those things, so we'll wait and see about that. But our attention turns to the MSVT Trackday Trophy. No championships to be decided here. It is fun racing. So the grid is going to be as follows. Pole position goes the way of number 14, Chris Reed. If you can't see him there, it's because it's camouflage, but that Zebra Mini is there. Alongside him, 64, the Porsche of Jack Wright and Matthew Allett. Second row, 114, Stuart Skinner and Stephen Goodliff in the Mini. 98, Charlie Polk, who just got the race victory in the Trackday Championship. Third row, 39, Paul McHugh and 144, Sarah Hobson. Row 4, 58, George Wright and Simon Morris in their Citroen Saxo, and 21, Wayne Cockrell in the Toyota Celica. They were saying that they think he just won his class in the championship fight as well. Fifth row is 88, Damon Trabutsky. Apologies, I've got that wrong. And 37, Jerry Evans and Phil Hart. Sixth row, Phil Hart, James Hart, and Martin Adams and Rob Adams in 120 and 3. Row 7, 16, Alistair Esam, and 77, Stephen Gilbert and Matt Baldacchi. Row 8, 23, Joel Middleton, David Ellisley, and 68, Jack Stewart and Tom Pugh. On the 9th row, 6, Colin Wells. Hopefully he's there because they damaged that MX-5 earlier. Yeah, it's patched up at the front. And 73, Darren Brace in the Mazda RX-8. Row 10, 15, Shane Rowe and 32, David Murfitt. 444, Jay Coombs and 63, Andy Burton on row 11. 12th row, 83, Fletcher and Langdon and 79, Martin Auger. 30, Beard and Evans and 82, David Griffiths on row 13. And on the 14th row, 26, Smith and Malarkey and 75, Harry Neger. 10-second delay started for the guest class, and on row 17 that is 76 Brian Chandler the MX-5 and 61 Alex Reed and Tim Hardcastle that have got to change drivers in a Caterham. That'll be fun. 18th and penultimate row, 137 Will Jackson Moore and 55 Tommy Valentine and 132 Mark Jones. 13 Doug Edmondson at the back. Now hopefully although that's just shown slightly different to what I had on my grid there.
Yeah, I've got the same. As I don't know whether we're missing the final couple because that got to 34 of Brian Chandler, but I've got him down as 33 in 33rd place. But then there were a few more. Yeah.
What they need to remember this time is to actually wait 10 seconds.
Absolutely, absolutely. But this somewhat poses the same question as we saw this morning, because the track has vastly changed from the conditions in which they qualified. So now is sort of the first time some of them, the majority of them, may have been in the MSVT Trackday Championship, this being the trophy. A few of them may have not. Obviously no points on the cards for this one. You do just go out there and, well, drive around as fast as you can, really. The 114 Wolf Motorsport of Stuart Kinner and Stephen Goodliff. It says it's a Mini JCW from 2002. It's a Mini JCW, I think, from 2012. Looking at the body shape of that car, it doesn't look like a 2002 car. That was the one I was getting confused with earlier. But keep an eye on your Honda Civic FN2s, like Paul McHugh, like Damian Trpchalski. There's the Honda Civics over today seem to have been the better part of the front half of the field. So we will see what they can do, especially those that are in the guest class, because they will be carving their way through. But we've also got to worry about traffic management as well, which we saw cause a couple of hiccups in the previous race. So there's plenty to bear in mind. It is a busy old race. You can't really underestimate how much there is to do behind the wheel.
And the whole idea is they're going to want to go out with this being fun because it's their last race of the season.
Exactly. I'm just looking up and down the order to see if there's any names specifically. We know that Mini isn't vastly quick in the wet or in the dry conditions, so I'm going to say it will either be Jack Wright and Matty Allert, or potentially we could see a double for Charlie Polk.
And I think there's every chance of that, because he looked very relaxed, very confident earlier.
But he did say he was struggling with temperatures, didn't he?
True.
But then the sun did come out.
Which seems to have disappeared again now, hasn't it?
I know, I shouldn't have said anything, I'm sorry.
It's all on you, that is. But Jack Wright's going to want to make amends from earlier, and he starts obviously on that front row. The last few cars just getting into position. The final one is in, and green flag is now waved. They're happy that everybody is in position. The lights trained on the gantry. The red lights come on, the engine notes rise. Long hold this time. Off go the lights and off go the field, and it's a real mixed bag of starts there. The number 3 MX-5 got a good start. We're going 4 wide. The good news is the cars at the back have waited their 10 seconds they're supposed to this time. Goodness me, we're going 4 wide into the first corner, and it is our pole sitter Chris Reed that has the lead at the moment. Charlie Polk's up into second place already. That was a great start by him. It was indeed, and he's starting to apply that pressure on to Chris Reed at the moment. Of course, Chris Reed, relation of Alex Reed, and Alex Reed, a dominant name in motorsport, and those two are already starting just to pull away from those cars behind, the first of which being the 114 Wolf Motorsport of Stuart Kinner and Stephen Goodliff. So it's a Wolf Motorsport 1-3 at the moment, and then it's absolutely everybody else thereafter. They just keep appearing. Yeah, absolutely. The one that didn't get quite the start they wanted will have been the Porsche 944, and in and through the gravel goes our race leader, and he's dragged it back onto the circuit as he came into Clearways and Clark Curve, so that all he's done is lost 1 place, but he just kept his boot in there, Jack, and just dragged it through. I think that was a good lesson there. Whereabouts is Jack Wright and Matty Allert? There they are. It'll be Matty Allert in the car this time, won't it? You would imagine so, and that's quite a lot of time lost on the opening lap. Sarah Hobson had a trouble start as well, got somewhat pretty much swallowed by the field, but has already started to try and fight her way back through. She's on the coattails of George Wright in that Honda Civic in the Citroen Saxo. But for the moment, Charlie Polk, he's doing everything he needs to at the front of the field, isn't he? Yeah, I mean, okay, the lead was gifted to him with the Mini going gravel track racing, but, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to be in it to win it, and he's doing a great job. It looks like the front row starting Porsche has just lost another place there, but in fact they're the cork in the bottle at the moment, so it's going to be interesting management. I have noticed, by the way, that the number 70 car is not out there, so they're off celebrating their championship win with full gusto, I would imagine now. They were on the reserves, weren't they, which begs the question. So was Jack Goes. I saw Jack Goes come down the pit lane, so it makes me think, did they do the green flag lap and then get confirmation there's no route for them? I don't think they were going to do it anyway. I reckon they're in there with champagne. I also knew that they had flags and champagne down in the paddock, but I was keeping it quiet because Nicole didn't know.
And I would have gone for a walk whilst down in the
Exactly. I wouldn't have seen you again if you knew that. So, no, I kept that perfectly quiet. But, I mean, this is part of it, where we've got that Porsche, presumably Matthew Allard behind the wheel at the moment, just sort of dropping down through the order a little bit. That dynamic change with the driver swap is what I love about this.
Yeah, absolutely, because this race won't be decided until effectively the checkered flag, because there could be more and more time pulled back by Jack Wright, and all of a sudden they're back in this race and back fighting for the lead. We're keeping an eye on Rob and Martin Adams. I'm looking down onto the pit wall and can't pick out whether it is Rob or Martin. If you want to message me on Instagram, please, either one of you, they will be able to inform us of that. But they're locked in a great little battle as they cross the line. And that is the number 32 NJM Racing Ford Fiesta ST of David Murphy. We'll see him out tomorrow in a Ford KA. Obviously that team ran by, partly ran by Jamie Moore, who's ever a character in the pit lane. We've got a brilliant battle going on for third place, just about managing to get the car tipped into the corner is Stuart Kinner and Stephen Goodliff in their Mini Cooper JCW. In the meantime, they have got the number 39 machine in the hands of Paul McHugh all over their tail, and whilst they are battling, Paul McHugh's now just about managed to edge up the inside. Following on from them is Wayne Cockrell, but Paul McHugh now trying to make the move for third place on the brakes in towards turn one. Paul McHugh up into third place. Kidder and Goodliff desperately tried to open the door once again, but one position lost could become two here, because Wayne Cockrell in that Toyota Celica following that Mini is getting so close, looking all the way around the outside. You can do that now, the track has dried. There is a bit more grip out there, isn't there?
There is. Oh, and I thought that Wayne was going to dive up the inside. I didn't realise until I saw the photo is that I even know Wayne from years ago. He was the chairman of the Network Group, and when I was in the B2B IT world, is that we used to team up with them with our software, with the authors of, and so that was when you saw me downstairs. I was like, oh, I've got to go and see Wayne. That is amazing. And it's great to see that he's getting stuck in again. But what is it? He's having Donovan's car next year. Is that right?
Yes, he's taking Stuart Donovan's car, but I'm not sure what he's doing with that one. So he might still be racing in Class C here, but Class B in the championship, or backwards and forwards. You don't know. It depends. It depends. The world is his oyster. When you've got two Toyota Celica race cars in two separate classes, you can do exactly what you'd like, really. For the moment, Matty Allard is in a bit of a battle with the Semprini Civic at the moment. That's being shared between Jeremy Evans and Phil Hart. I think it's Jeremy Evans that is at least in the corporate ladder with VoiceBox, and they are the title sponsor, effectively, of the MSVT Trackday Trophy and the championship, I think, as well now. And those two have been racing together for a number of years, not only in that Civic, but also in the Enduro Car Series. It's getting incredibly close for what is fourth place, but everywhere else, again, it's falling into that duos. We've got a trio of MX-5s fighting their way in towards Graham Hill Bend, absolutely side by side. It's brilliant. I don't know where to look, Chris.
That actually means, I'm sure, that the number 3 car, Martin Adams and Rob Adams, that got an absolute lightning start, but they must have made a mistake somewhere, presumably, because where are they running now? They're down in 16th place, so I'm sure they went screaming off the line. They got boxed in and stopped their progress a little bit, but not to the level of that. And that car's just at the background. You can see that a little bit of damage on the front of that one. That's a bit of a telltale sign, isn't it?
Yeah, it very much is. That being the number 76 car of Brian Chandler. We've mentioned his name quite a lot, haven't we?
And he started with the delayed start, so he's coming screaming through this field, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not hanging around at all, and that could be the reason why we've seen the Adams drop down a little bit, because we are getting those potentially quicker but guest class cars now work their way through the field. We've got yet more battles going on in towards Graham Hill Bend. We've got a trio followed by a trio, and they disappear behind the aircon units as effectively as one, but they can reappear in a different order. That is, as you've said, with the self-developed car and how close the racing is, they can disappear in one order and appear in completely the other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this fight that you're talking about, the MX-5, they're now getting involved with the 77 Gilbert and Baldacci Clio as well, although the Clio suddenly pulls away from them once they get onto the start-finish straight. But the Adams number 3 making those places back up again. And which one was that was following them as well, trying to get involved? Another one of the MX-5s. It's just brilliant, entertaining throughout.
Yeah, that would be Jack Stewart and Tom Pugh in their MX-5. They're closing in. All of a sudden, second wind for the Adams in their MX-5, because they're now, as you say, really starting to apply that pressure onto the Gilbert and Baldacci Renault Clio. In towards Graham Hill Bend they will go, and it's Clio from MX-5, from MX-5, from MX-5 and MX-5 again. They've all found each other in that mid-pack, and they're really starting to apply that pressure onto the Gilbert and Baldacci Renault Clio. Late on the brakes up the inside, manages to get it through. I've got a feeling that's going to be Martin Adams behind the wheel, and as he has got through, so too has the car. Is that going to be the treble 4 of Jay Coombs? No, because that's a Mark III.
That's behind and is about to. It was the 68 Jack Stewart and Tom Pugh that has made the place up. Although under pressure again, that Clio's quick in a straight line, isn't it? But there goes the triple 4. Now Jay Coombs is going to try and go up the inside. He's got the run through Paddock Hill Bend, up the hill they climb. Is he going to be able to do it? In fact, he's now under pressure from the number 6 car. That's Colin Wells, of course, with the patched up front end after earlier. But look at the speed of this Clio. It's able to just beast it down the hill there, and it will again on the Cooper Straight here, I'd imagine too. Yeah,
a Clio isn't exactly the first car that you think of when you say heavy, but the lighter of the two, the MX-5, can dive its way up the inside on the brakes. So Clio quick in a straight line, Mazda deep on the brakes. It produces some very, very close racing indeed. Also keep an eye on the Caterham Academy car of Alex Reed and Tim Hardcastle. That's just crossed the line up into 14th place. They started in 34th place.
Yeah, that's impressive, isn't it? That's the Caterham, is it?
Yes, the Caterham Academy car, yeah.
Yeah, it's... I mean, they're going to be in their element now that it's dry, aren't they? Because they are fully nimble around these, and they're all over the back of a Porsche 944. That's a sentence you don't hear very often. The Caterham buzzing around a 944 Porsche. But that is certainly the case onto the Cooper Straight for those two. But the Clio 77 has been passed by Jay Coombs now. So the 444 car has moved up a place. So what does that put it? That's up into 19th place for Jay Coombs, but the Clio now under pressure from Colin Wells. He's going to be sick of MX-5s, isn't he?
Yeah, he will. He will just want to get right. Can you go past now, and then I can start fighting.
Exactly.
They're doing a brilliant job, really bringing the fight to them. But you can see just in the time it's taken for them to get by, that's massively opened up the 4 MX-5s, which were all nose to tail, and now the Adams in their MX-5 Mark III are starting to close in on those cars up the road. Marshall's hard at work with the blue flags already. There's 2 Ford Fiestas for Martin Adams to get through and past, the first of which will be done so very quickly indeed. So I've got a feeling that's the number 75 Super Tune Motorsport of Harry Niger, and nearly managed to open the door. We've got somebody into the pit lane way before the pit window. Still got 4.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, the 83 Fletcher and Langston, that MX-5 with the fin on the back that I said I quite like. I don't know whether they've been given the meatball flag or something, maybe, because they did have a bit of bodywork hanging off of the rear corner, and that tends to be jumped on, doesn't it, a fair bit? So it may well be that. I'm just trying to make sure that there's a car being passed by a lot of people, and I thought that was involved in a legitimate fight. So I don't know whether it's got an issue or whether it literally is just one of the back markers. But I did notice that Colin Wells has also got past the 77 Gilbert and Badaki car as well now.
Yeah, and Charlie Pork, he's now approaching the battle that we've been keeping an eye on. Through he goes. Safety car comes out. So as we look on the cameras, that is why we've got the number 26 FJ Racing Renault Clio with Stuart Smith and Aaron Malarkey, who that's got to have been helped there. It's up
very
at Druids.
Late at Druids, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty much on the exit. There you go. There you see it, the 26 car. You'll see that is on the exit of Druids, and you'd assume, even if they've made a mistake up there,
it's a long way in, isn't it?
Yeah, they'd have kind of sorted out enough to just wrestle that around. Or, of course, it could have been a mechanical problem that's just spat it in a straight line.
Yeah, so clearly whatever's gone on, it has brought about the need for a safety car.
Brace, the RX-8 is into the pits, and that's still too early for a legitimate pit stop, isn't it?
Yes, I know the rotary-engined RX-8 usually drink through a bit of oil, but I thought it would last longer than what, 15 minutes
Yes.
into the race. We've still got 3 minutes to go. Once again, the pit klaxon sounds, and that is Colin Wells into the pit lane. But I don't know whether that's more he can feel something that maybe it was cause and effect from the previous race, and they're currently going to look at that car. Very quick indeed.
That's very, very quick, and it wasn't even in the fast lane. He's gone straight back out again. I don't really understand that.
No, green light was on at the end of the pit lane, so he's got every right to...
And he's just overtaken the Golf liveried back marker, because I'm pretty sure that was ahead of him when he came out there. Yeah. I think that might be a word in his shell, like there.
Yes, I would imagine so.
I tell you what I reckon's happened there is that he's come in thinking, I'm going to get in and do my pit stop, and he's gone past his team and they've gone, no, go out, and then he's made the mistake that he's accelerated down there in the slow lane, where, you know, marshals and team members are in there, and he's gone down at quite a pace. But hopefully...
But did he get caught doing it? Did somebody have a speed gun on hand?
You just want to make sure there's no blooming commentators talking about it then, don't you? So
you
we'll
do.
shut up, we'll move on. It is what it is. The bad news is that we've seen the safety car again come out at the inopportune moment, haven't we?
We have indeed, and with the location of that car, it's not just getting it pulled behind the barriers, it will have to be pulled out of the gravel, either pushed back going again or taken elsewhere. And with a minute and a half, the pit lane's about to get busy, isn't it?
It certainly is. 1 minute 15 to go. So just over a minute to go is 14 laps now in the book. And it is 98 Charlie Polk still leading the way, just tucked behind the safety car, because the safety car almost immediately waved the stragglers past so that he was able to pick up the leader. Directly behind are stragglers, so it is the 6 Colin Wells car that's in 22nd, and there's then the Golf liveried MX-5, and then we get the second place car, which is Chris Reed in the number 14, the Zebra Mini, and McHugh, number 39, is directly behind Chris Reed. So Pugh is third in the race and is line astern. Directly behind them is not the car that is next to them in the line. I think that's the Phil and James Hart Civic that's next. So that's going to be out of sequence. So it is quite mixed up here for a few of them, and they're not going to get rid of the back markers that are sort of sat in the middle. In terms of the recovery, I can tell you that the pickup has winched itself onto the back of the stricken car and is now pulling it backwards. So the Smith and Malarkey number 26 car is being pulled onto the tarmac again. And this is where we'll find out whether it was an issue that put it off or whether it's going to be able to drive back. Looking at the mess, as the pits window has now opened, so everyone's diving in, including our race leader, Charlie Polk, and Reed, and McHugh, and Kinnear and Goodliff. So the top 4, the top 5 are all in. Cockerell's in as well. But I'm just going to have a look. The stricken car that's been dragged back to the circuit, it's been a victim of the weather by the looks of it, because in front of that car, it really bogged down quite dramatically into that gravel, and it looks like it's mud rather than gravel in front of it. So it is been a huge challenge. There's a number of cars that have not come in yet, so it's now being led by the 120 car, and that is Phil and James Hart. So the white Civic is now officially the leader. So that's the white Civic with the sort of green flashes on the bumper. Then it's 37 Evans and Hart. Then it's George Wright and Morris in the 58 Saxo that is third position. So they've not stopped yet. Maybe George Wright's not going to come in until his son Jack Wright has taken over the Porsche and free up their space for them. That's where it might get a little bit tricky. We saw earlier that the pit lane gets incredibly tight. You see some of them have been sensibly sort of at an angle. The 76 Mazda MX-5. That's Brian Chandler. That was kind of the lead of the guest classes, hence that delayed pit stop. It looks to me as though that's George Wright in the Saxo at the moment, because that looked like the Team Air Supplies overalls that were in there. I'm pretty sure that Jack Wright is going to be taking the Porsche out now. Nearly had contact there as the 39 Paul McHugh Civic tried to get out and nearly made contact with Chris Reed. That means that McHugh was not able to jump past the Mini. It was kind of waved out a little bit early. The stricken car, by the way, has had to be towed back in, but on its own four wheels. But it shows that maybe there was a little bit of damage there of why it went straight on quite late in that corner. So a lot of the cars that have pitted are now making their way back out onto the circuit. Still got 27 minutes left to go in this race. We've still got probably actually only about 6 cars that are yet to do their pit stop. The safety car is back in and we're going green flag. So everything is back underway now, and it is the 120, the white Civic there at the front that is leading this race. The Hearts leading away. That was the Saxo of George Wright and Morris, number 58. That is, what's that? That's in 3rd position now. I don't know whether it's Simon Morris or George Wright in there, but I think I spotted that it may well have been George Wright's overalls. But 37 is the blue Honda Civic of Jeremy Evans and Phil Hart. That is in 2nd position. So there you go, the 2 Civics leading the way at the moment. Now are they going to lose out by not pitting under this safety car? Jack Werrell down in the pits.
I am down in the pit lane. I've got Tim Hardcastle with me. Tim, obviously, for the shared cars, it can be quite an easy job to jump in and out of, but you guys are in a Caterham Academy car. That's quite the challenge, isn't it?
Well, I did Caterham Academy this year, my first year of racing, and Caterham put on an amazing thing, so I've learned a few of the basics, but this is a next level experience and I'm thoroughly enjoying it and I really appreciate being allowed to race here today. But I'm racing with someone that's quite expert, so we decided he was the 2nd best driver to go out and finish the stint for me.
I have to say as well, I've never seen somebody do a driver change by getting out of what is effectively the roof. That was quite something.
Well, as you can see, I'm slightly diminutive of stature, so I think they felt that the smaller guy can get out more quickly. But I just wanted to say thank you to my daughter, who designed my helmet for me, because my nickname over 50 years ago on the hockey field was Tiger Tim. She designed a Tiger racing helmet, so I hope that people recognise me.
Looks brilliant. You're doing great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tim Hardcastle there from the Caterham Academy car. I'll wander at the pit lane, see if I can grab somebody else.
Brilliant, and I did see on that stream as well there the wonderful helmet. That was a great design. I wonder if that's hockey or ice hockey. Obviously, being an ice hockey fan myself, I'd be interested to hear. So much going on out in circuit. The 2 Civics in the lead, the Hearts and the Evans and Hart, 120 and 37, 1st and 2nd. They've pulled away from everyone else. There's the 120 car that is leading the way at the moment. It's either Phil or James Hart behind the wheel. There's the blue car in 2nd place, car number 37, Jeremy Evans or Phil Hart. Now, they actually started ahead of the 120 car, so they've sort of lost out a little bit there. 3rd place is the 58 Saxo, but that had sort of been getting gobbled up by a few cars. But, of course, some of them are actually, they've already pitted and they're not yet actually fighting with them, particularly on the road. So it's an interesting challenge. The hooter goes off, and that's the 2nd place car. So in has come the Evans and Hart 37 car. There is the Saxo that's in 3rd place, just being passed by Chris Reed, but that's not for position yet. But that Saxo is yet to do the pit stop. But that's an interesting fight. Just going past him is McHugh in the 39 Civic. Now that Civic is chasing down Chris Reed, and that is almost the pseudo lead there between those two. Well, maybe not, because Polk Polk is ahead of them. Sorry, 98 Polk is in the pseudo lead. Jack.
Yeah, so I'm down here with Matthew. Matthew, I'm sure compared to this morning, the Nightfall 4 is a bit more manageable. It's a bit drier, not as greasy. Is it good fun?
Yeah, good fun. I mean, when we were last here, we had a blown water pipe, so we didn't get much track time. It's my first year racing, so it's pretty much my first time racing around here. But no, light in day with Porsche when it's raining and dry. Bit of a handful this morning. I'm not used to it because I'm new to it, but no, it was good fun, very good fun. I love battling with everyone, even though they're in slower cars than I am compared to classes, but I just enjoy myself. And now we've got Jack out there, who's, we all know, he's a good driver. Hopefully he can do something with it.
Are we going to see you back next year for a bit more?
100%, definitely going to be back next year. Jack and George, they ain't golf, and I'm definitely back with Jack.
Great stuff, we'll look forward to it.
Thank you.
That was Matthew Allett from the Team Air Supply Porsche 944. In the meantime, nothing's changed out there, has it, Chris? It's all tooth and nail.
It is, and we still don't quite know exactly what is going on with the pit stops. The 37 car is still down there. I'm hoping that's still its pit window, because that just feels like a long time for me at the moment. So I'm wondering whether that car has got an issue and is dropping down through the order. The 77 Clio of Gilbert and Baldacci, that's now making its way out of the pits, and the good news is no, it's fine. The 37 car is heading out there. You see the first one that makes out the blue Civic with the green flashes on it, so that one rejoins the circuit. Still yet to have the top three pits, so 120, 58 and 68 are yet to come in, and they are sat running line astern. What interests me is that Charlie Polk is, if once all the pit stops are done, is probably pseudo in the lead, but is being closed in on quite dramatically, although he's probably just remedied that the last time round. But I was about to say that Reed and McHugh in 14 and 39 were closing in. But there's the 120 car, having not pitted yet. That car is still in the lead of the race, with either Phil or James behind the wheel at the moment, still ploughing on, and it doesn't need to pit for about another 6 minutes yet before the pit window closes. So he's got plenty of time, but that Civic is trying to work out what the margin is, but it's now very comfortably, because just crossing the line now goes the George Wright or Simon Morris car, the Citroën Saxo, that sits in second position on the road at the moment. As I say, not yet pitted. Third is number 68 of Jack Stewart or Tom Pugh in that red Mazda MX-5 we've seen on camera a few times. There's the 114 car now. That's either Stuart Kinnear or Stephen Goodliff. We saw it involved quite far up in the battles earlier. Well, who's that fighting with? Well, McHugh 39, was that ahead of him there? In fact, the 37 car that seemed to pit for a long time is just ahead on the road, but I don't think that's legitimately there. The green Fiesta is trying to come back at them as well. But you've now got all sort of messed up in their orders at the moment, and the problem is they just do not know who is around them, so they're just going to fight with the cars that are near them and wait and see how that works out. Oh, and I've just watched the 32 Fiesta. Oh, and a little bit of contact there as Wayne Cockerell just sort of dives between a back marker that they were both lapping and that Fiesta, and just about managed to get away with it. So that was quite a relief. Oh, big lock-up from the 37 as he tries to dive up the inside of Kinnear and Goodliff's Mini, and he's done well to keep that out. Nearly comes across and collects the 58 car of George Wright and Simon Morris in that Saxo, but managed to fend that one off. And of course, don't forget that 58 has yet to pit. So it's one of those, again, another one of those examples that's not a legitimate fight out there, but they need to do it just in case it is now, or could be after everyone's gone through their pit stops and it's rinsed itself out. So there is the Citroën Saxo. Wayne Cockerell's now just gone past those and following on the 37. Now let's have a look. Is that a legitimate fight? No, it looks like the 37 car really lost out with the pit stops. Hooter's gone off. In has come the third place Stewart and Pugh Mazda MX-5. So number 68 is in, and that will be a driver change this time round. So that leaves just, well, two more. The front two cars are yet to pit, and a bit further back, Edmondson in number 13 has yet to pit. But we've still got about another 3 minutes of the pit window. Outside of those that haven't pitted, it's still Charlie Polk 98, the white Clio, that leads the way by 3.5 seconds over Chris Reed, and McHugh, number 39, the Civic, in third place. Great battle here. we're just getting battles all the way through, even if they're not legitimately with each other. And of course, you know, as we were saying earlier, the Trackday Trophy is about exactly that. There's no championship points up for it. They're having fun. Into the pits in the background, you can see there is the second place car, the 58 Citroën Saxo. And as I say, I'm pretty sure George Wright's jumping out of that one now. Jack Werrell's down there with them, actually. Have I interpreted it right? That's George Wright jumping out?
Yes, it is George Wright jumping out. And I was trying to hold my breath because of the amount of brake dust that came out. It really does smell of brakes. So clearly George Wright has been using them appropriately. I will have to jump in and grab a word with him in a few moments' time. I'll let the pit stop play out. Have we had anybody too short on pit stop, or is everybody still all the right side of 2 minutes?
No, it looks like we're all okay. We've certainly got no penalties come through, and I've just sort of been looking at the list as they come through, and no, everybody seems to be above it. We've had several that have done 2:01s of the 2-minute pit stop limit, so some of them have been really good at pushing it right to the wire. Wayne Cockerell, 21, the red and white Celica, he did a 2:01.5, 2:01.3 for the 37 car, so it wasn't in there a long time at all. It was just an optical illusion in reality. But still, with only a minute and a half left to go, there's George Wright on the feed now. Look at the smile on his face, and that's what we always see from the Wrights. Into the pits now does come the 120 car, so from the lead of the race into the pit, so it means Charlie Polk is going to pick up the lead of the race once this washes through. Jack.
Yeah, so I am still down here in the pit lane with George Wright. George, I don't think I've ever seen you without a smile on your face when you get out of a car. You just love it. The brakes probably don't, though. That's the most prominent thing I smelt when you came in, the puff of brake mist. You've been using them, right, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a D car and you start 7th on the grid and with all the B cars, you've got to be late on the brakes, you've got to be early on the power, you've just got to absolutely rinse the thing and just do the corners faster than they can, because the corners are slow whether you're in an A, B, C or D car. You can all get round the corner at the same pace. It's the straight, so I had to make sure I was a bit quicker on the corner. Held it, they were obviously picking me off, but I was fighting. Took a decision to take a late pit stop in the hope we'd get another safety car. Didn't get one, so that might go as against us, but I mean, for the first of the race, we're P1 in group, and you know, at the end of the day, if Simon has a good race, I've thoroughly enjoyed that. Battling with the big boys. Made it slightly easier getting out of a Group B Golf in the last race into the Saxo, because it felt like so slow. I was just like, shall I brake? Nah.
And you get to have more fun tomorrow.
We've got qualifying tonight in the KAs and then 6 hours tomorrow, so I might even allow myself a shower. Not sure. Might have one next week.
That'll do. Cheers, George. Always good to chat. George right there from Team Air Supply. We have got that Mini in the pit lane, car number 114, so I'm going to wander up and try and diagnose exactly what's happened there.
Yes, because they were involved in some great fights, and that is their second stop. But yeah, George Wright, Jack Wright, great characters to grace any paddock. Brilliant to see that. It does look like we have indeed had a change I've just seen. I didn't see it happen, but just heading up towards Druitt's in a second is going to be the second and third place cars. 39, the black Civic of McHugh is now up into second place, ahead of the zebra liveried Mini of 14, Chris Reed. I think we're about to see them come through. Yes, so there is Pugh, and there is the Mini that has been passed somewhere. It's actually fighting with one of the cars further down, number 15 Rose in 10th position, and this is what the challenge we've got out there. Jack Werrell.
News from Stephen Goodlift, left rear puncher, and they've opted not to change it because it would put them so far out of the running. Yes, that car unfortunately is going no further.
That is a shame, because it was involved in some great scrapping out there in this race. Right, we're about to tick down to 13.5 minutes. The pit window has indeed, as we know, closed. You can see Chris Reed in that Mini has now got past the car that it was struggling to get past for a little while, that 15 BMW of Rowe, and it's now pulled away, and they're just having to pick their way through such a busy circuit of traffic. And you can see that the Civic was just ahead, about sort of 2 back markers ahead of the Mini, and that is McHugh, number 39. The good news for Chris Reed there, number 14, it doesn't matter for class. He's leading Class C. The 2 cars ahead of him are both in Class B. But that doesn't stop racing drivers normally, does it? He's still going to be trying to get himself back up with McHugh and enjoy that fight again. But he is leading Class C. But Wayne Cockerell behind him, lapping fairly similar pace in that red and white Celica number 21. And the bad news for him is that it's already 16 3/4 second margin. So we're not going to see a battle for the lead of Class C as it stands at the moment. The Porsche of Jack Wright and Matthew Allett, that is in a 5th place, car number 64. So we need to keep an eye on that 944, I suspect, because lap time-wise, gone a bit quicker than the cars ahead of him. We suspected that would happen, but 61, the Alex Reed and Tim Hardcastle Caterham, that is now in 6th position, leading the guest fight. Remember, it had to start at the back, 10-second delay on their green flag, and he's up there in 6th and lapping quicker than all of the cars ahead of it last time round. So the Caterham could come into this at some point as well. One of the the battles you saw there was still Wayne Cockerell having a fabulous fight with the 37 car of Evans and Hart, but that is not for position, unbelievably. That is a back marker that is ahead of the Celica. There is the 61 car that I was talking about. So Reed and Hardcastle sat there in 6th position, lapping quicker than everyone ahead of it. The bad news for him is he's got to make up about just over 4 1/4 seconds before he reels in that Porsche of Jack Wright, and we know that Jack Wright's going to be pedaling that one hard without question. But now that the conditions are completely dry, you can see that Caterham's having an absolute whale of a time. The momentum they're able to carry on with the Caterhams is going to be pretty special around this Indy circuit. As he goes down the hill from Paddock Hill Bend, back up the hill towards the Druids hairpin he goes. Fiesta in the background there that he's put pay to. Here comes Chris Reed, car number 14, about to put a lap on one of the Civics there. And that was 132 that I think he was getting past there. That's Mark Jones. So Mark Jones, I didn't realise Mark was here, and I've just realised that is my mate Mark Jones, and he kept it quiet because I forgot that he had a Civic. I'm assuming it is him anyway, but Misty Racing, he does a lot of racing with Misty Racing, so there's every chance it is. About to go into the final 10 of this 45-minute race, the final race of the 2024 season for the Trackday Trophy. In fact, for MSVT Trackday, either of them, because we had the championship wrapped up before lunch, this after lunch, and that will be put together for next year. Another fantastic year that the championship and trophy have had. It's not the end for MSVT because, of course, they're running everything that's out over the course of this weekend. It's all under that MSVT banner. There is the number 39 Honda Civic that's in 2nd place. That was McHugh. Great big gag with cars going across the start-finish line there. So Charlie Polt is leading the way by nearly 2.5 seconds over McHugh. There goes Wayne Cockerell, 21, up the inside of the number 3 MX-5 of the Adams. Don't know whether that is Martin or Rob. I have a suspicion it might be Rob Adams that's out in that now.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking at Martin on the pit wall.
Yeah, that would make sense. It just looked that extra bit racy in the first stint, to be fair. So lead 3 have already gone across the line and put 35 laps in the book. It is Polk leading by 4 seconds now, just over 4, because he's just, again, putting another 54, almost metronomic. Sam Pearce, thank you for this. He said, no surprise, the left rear of the 114 Mini popped. It was rubbing all race under compression through Paddock Hill Bend. So there you go, Jack. That's the reason why he got the puncture, is that it was rubbing under compression, and it actually eventually just burst the tyre from rubbing on everything else. So they weren't surprised to hear that did more than just a puncture. That was a complete explosion. You just saw on the front of your screen there was the McHugh 39 Civic go through. 76 Chandler, which is the now second place in the guess, of course, because don't forget the that is being led by the Caterham, but he's about to put a challenge on the 88. This is for position, actually. So looking up the inside goes Chandler past the Trubsalski number 88 Civic. So that was the one that went through. My apologies, got the wrong one. But no, the Chandler MX-5 just gets a little bit crossed up as he went from that transition of right to left. A bit of a wave with his hands as he just drifts it from Clearways to Clark Curve. Puts his hand up. That looked more like possibly an apology that he didn't mean to quite make that little mistake, but he got away with it, and he moves himself up into 7th place, trying to close down on the Caterham that leads the G-Class, the guest class battle. Question is, where is that? So that Caterham's just gone onto the Cooper Straight as the MX-5 was just coming round Druids hairpin. So you're talking the length of that drop down the hill from Druids down to Graham Hill Bend is the gap between the two. And Chandler is not going to close because they're lapping probably about a second slower than the Caterham. So the 88 Trapalski, 8th on the road, 4th in Class B. There's our race leader, the 98 Charlie Polk. Now, are we going to see the issue that he referred to earlier, where he said about the temperatures became an issue towards the tail end of the race? Well, with 6¼ minutes left to go, lights fully ablaze so that the lapped cars know that he is coming, and it's not going to cause him an issue. 58 Citroen Saxo that we heard George Wright was behind the wheel of earlier. There is Charlie Polk down towards Graham Hill Bend. He comes. 38 laps done so far. Could he make it 2 out of 2? Either side of lunch. 2 races out of 2. Charlie Polk. This would be a very happy driver, I suspect. And he is stretching his lead ever more at the front to 5¼ seconds now. McHugh, number 39, in 2nd. Chris Reed, number 14, the black and white Mini, in 3rd place. Wayne Cockrell, number 21, in his Toyota Celica in 4th position, ahead of Jack Wright now at the wheel of that Porsche 944 after Matthew Allett started it in 5th. And then it is the Caterham, number 61, of Reed and Hardcastle in 6th position. Jack's back up in the commentary box. One of the things I'm interested in, though, Jack, was there any difference in the vibe in the pit lane for the trophy compared to the championship?
It was a lot more relaxed.
That's what I wondered, yeah.
Because whilst you still work to the same time restraints pit stop wise, drivers weren't, especially at this point in the season, if they know they've not necessarily got vast amounts of budget left to play with, they are just a lot more relaxed, and they're taking the time to chat and going, well, we've got to spend a minimum of 2 minutes here so we can have a 90-second chat. And that's what they were doing, just saying, yeah, it's good fun, don't turn in there, brake there, avoid that curve, little bits like that, just to communicate to their co-driver exactly what is going on. And even drivers that were in the car were sort of winding down the window, they would be handed a phone with TSL, and they might be having a drink, and they'd sort of go, oh, I should have gone 10 seconds ago. And just, you know, there's no rush. It is really relaxed, and it's very nice down there, I have to say. Albeit at one point or another, it did get very, very busy indeed, and there was a couple of cars that nearly found each other in the pit lane.
Doug Edmondson has got a penalty because their pit stop was 1 minute 42.
Now, when I say relaxed, that's not relaxed.
That's not.
That's in a hurry.
And kind of forgetting the rules altogether. So it means that they've got a 1-lap penalty.
And I have got a bone to pick with Team Banana Racing, car number 137, that Renault Clio in the hands of Will Jackson Moore. How come every time into turn 1 it makes the most almighty bang?
Oh, is that him?
That's him. Every time it scares me, because you don't expect it. It's just you hear sort of Charlie Polk go screaming by, and we've had the likes of McHugh and to people like that, where they've got effectively, I don't want to say open headers, but incredibly loud cars. And you sort of go, yeah, that's loud. That's so quiet going past the pit wall.
Yeah.
And you don't notice it until you get this almighty bang, and every single time it does it. There it is. We'll have a listen into turn one. You watch. Now we've talked about it. It won't do it into turn one this time. Whereabouts is Jackson Moore? He's in 20th place at the moment, 4th in the guest class. Let's have a listen. Typical. Didn't do it in towards turn one. Whereabouts did he start? Started right the way in 35th place with the 10-second delay. Post pit stop, now being into 20th place. That's not bad at all.
No, that's very impressive there. And I thought that there was a bit of damage, but I think that's just they've kind of remoulded that bodywork at the front there to give the tyres a bit more space by the looks of it. But yeah, typical, isn't it, that we waited to see if it was. Now, there's nothing like commentators going silent, is there?
No, absolutely. It just works, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Saying that, some of you might deserve the rest.
Yeah, there was a thank you I heard there. Yeah.
Good thing is we've only got to wait a minute before he comes back round and tries it again. What are we doing?
Well, Charlie Paul's pulling away. He's now about to get to 10 seconds margin because he's lapping about 2 seconds a lap quicker than the rest of the chasing pack.
Yeah, and it's I heard you say it whilst I was downstairs, but seeing that car with the headlights on, granted we have a slightly tinted commentary box, it is getting dark, isn't it? And to say that at 3 o'clock, it shows we're right towards the latter stages of the season. Yeah,
I mean, again, I think it's darker is probably the right way for us to say it, isn't it? Because you're absolutely right. It is, and I don't think it's a weather gloom, because looking at the clouds, they look perfectly light, don't they? Yeah. So it is getting to that day, and of course it'll be even more so tomorrow when the clocks change tonight. Don't forget, the clocks go back, which is the good one.
Yes, yeah. Always a good one as well, isn't it? I wish we should start doing it, make that a daily thing. It would be very nice indeed, wouldn't it? I believe that's called a lie-in. I've not had one of those in a long time.
I like the rules, though, apparently, is that you don't bother trying to change your car radio. Forget about it for 6 months. You need a degree to change your oven clock. And if you've got a sundial in your garden, just move one house down.
Didn't even know my oven had a clock. I've never looked at the clock in my car, and I don't think I'll ever own a sundial. So you're all good there.
You're fine. Right, well, there goes Charlie Polk for what will be the final time into the Paddock Hill bend, and he is leading. Has he managed to extend it? Yes, it's 11 3/4 seconds now over McHugh. Reed is in third place in the zebra liveried Mini, but leading Class C, importantly for him. So that's looking comfortable. Leading Class G, we know, is Reed and Hardcastle in the Caterham, and leading Class D. That's a lovely return, picking up on what you said earlier, the Adams in that number 3 MX-5.
Yes, they are. You said it earlier, obviously, they were sort of started in 13th, was it? In 12th place. They then dropped quite a way down, but I don't know whether that was the guest class cars coming through. I'm not sure who's quicker between Rob and Martin. And we do have the checkered flag being waved over the line, 2 from 2. You cannot complain at all, can you, Charlie Polk? What a day he has had. Did he make it to 10 seconds? Towards the line in a few moments' time will come the number 39 of Paul McHugh. As he comes towards the line now, breaks the beam, 11.8 seconds. He wasn't hanging around, was he?
No, exactly. He's nailed that. So Charlie Polk, 98, takes a great victory. Really impressed at making it 2 by 2. And with a minimal gap between the two races as well. It's super impressive. And doing it all on his own. 45-minute races all on his own. I'm exhausted just talking about it. But he's managed to win both of those races. And this one was, by quite a comfortable margin. McHugh in second position. In third, number 14, Chris Reed wins Class C. Then it is Jack Wright and Matty Allett in the 64 car in fourth position. Fifth, 21, Wayne Cockerell. That's the runner-up spot in Class C. Taking the flag as well is Reed and Hardcastle, number 61. That Caterham, great job for winning Class G, and to get up to 6th overall from the back of the grid is super impressive. And let me just double check. Yep, so Martin and Rob Adams, they win Class D in the number 3 car. And it was line astern for Coombs. So the final race result overall is as follows. The race win went to Charlie Polk, number 98, 39, Paul McHugh in second, Chris Reed in third, Wright and Allett, number 64 in fourth place, ahead of Wayne Cockerell in 21, Reed and Hardcastle, 61 in sixth place. Then it's Brian Chandler, Damien Czaprutsky, in 8th position. 9th is 144 Sarah Hobson. Shane Rowe, he comes home in 10th position in the Al Gore Racing BMW. In 11th position, getting ahead of myself there, it is the Evans and Hart Semprini Racing Honda Civic, ahead of Hart and Hart in the 120 Civic as well. Then it is the winner of Class D, Martin and Rob Adams, number 3, ahead of 444 Jay Coombs, 32 David Murphy. Mark Jones did well, 132 from the very final row, and he comes home in 16th place. Colin Wells in the MX-5 in 17th place. 18th, number 77, Gilbert and Badaki. Stuart and Pugh in 19th place, and Will Jackson Moore in 20th in the 137, another one that had to start from the back. Middleton and Elsley in 21st. 22nd is Wright and Morris in that Citroen Saxo. David Griffiths, number 82, in 23rd place. Andy Burton, Beard and Evans. 26th is Martin Auger, Darren Brace and Harry Nagar, Doug Edmondson and Fletcher and Langston in 30th position. 31st is Alistair Esam, Kinner and Goodliff in that Mini that had to come in with the puncher, Tommy Valentine and Smith and Malarkey that brought out the safety car, number 26, in 34th place. Jack Werrell's down there with the winners.
I am indeed. Just confirm where 144 Sarah Hobson finished, because obviously she's joining us down here.
9th overall, 3rd in Class C.
9th overall, 3rd in Class, perfect. So I will grab a word with her. But we've got Charlie Polk again. We'll just we'll nip past Paul McHugh, who was nearly got doored. Charlie, we'll grab you again. You'll take that, 2 from 2.
That was a lot easier than the last one, I've got to say, yeah. 10 seconds lead, so that was great fun, yeah.
No issues with temperatures this time?
A little bit, yeah. Myself, I think, yeah. Yeah, it was great fun, so, yeah.
Are we going to see you out a little bit more next year?
Yeah, same thing, TDC and TDT, so, yeah, carry on doing that, so, yeah. Just Brands, I think, so I seem to do all right here.
Great stuff. We'll look forward to it. Congratulations, Charlie. We will grab Paul McHugh. He's back up this way. You look rather warm. Were you working hard there?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we did the Trackday Championship before. Had to go and see the clerk of the course because there was an issue, and so literally as I was walking out, they called us out to go and do that. So it was just back in the car and go. So, but a good race. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
And you've been going well all season. Is there any development planned for the Civic in the winter at all?
Yeah, well, we developed it over last winter, and then my driver, who's not here this weekend, Will Heslop, he's been training me as well and giving me advice and set up on the car. So it's sort of thanks to him as well and the team Rebea.
Great stuff. Congratulations. Well done, Paul. We'll grab Jack Wright over here. We'll have to be careful not to get collected by the Ginetta going up the grid. Jack, unfortunately, but this time you're in a slightly higher spirits. Let's go with.
Yeah, no, me and Matty are over the moon with that. You know, it's Matty's first season racing. This is the second podium we've had in the Trackday Trophy, so you know we've got consistency, and I've obviously been in the 944 for 10 years now, so I know my way around it, and I can slowly pick people off. And the car was handling well. A couple of mistakes going into paddock, getting past the back markers when you're off your racing line, but apart from that, it was really good fun.
So VW Golf, Porsche 944, Ford KA later on this afternoon. It's going to be a good weekend. Congratulations, Jack.
Yeah, ready for the KAs now. Bring it on.
Great stuff. Thank you, Jack. In the meantime, Clear Cup GB is out on the grid for you now.
Yep, so bear with us. We've closed down this one. We'll be back with the Clio Cup and the grid in a moment.